Okay, so one of the issues I've been having in my journey towards complete minimalism is what to do with my book collection. I probably have, or it had, maybe between 100 and 150 books. And I have, here's the thing. I mainly just kept my books. I realized I mainly just kept them just for appearance sake only. I just to like impress people who came over. But then I would, date women who didn't read and they didn't give a shit. So it was kind of fruitless. But yeah. But I enjoy books. I enjoy reading. I like having the feel of a book in my hand. I like what it feels like when you pick out the shelf. I like how it looks. But that's kind of going against what I want in my life now. I want zero attachments to a lot of physical things, or like material things rather. But the book thing has been kind of the hardest. So I have narrowed it down out of my 150 or so. I've narrowed it down to about, I think it's 60. Half of those 60 are books that I inherited. So they are like a leather bound collection of like 30 timeless classics like Moby Dick, Sherlock Holmes, that kind of old, like a lot of Dickens is in there. So I'm gonna be keeping those because they're really nice books and they're leather bound and they belong to my grandmother, and I want to keep them, much like my dad's acoustic Fender. I'm keeping that too because I've been playing that every day too. You can see the on my fingertips right there. Yeah. Oh yeah. Calluses. But it's been a lot of fun. So dad's guitar, grandma's books, and then I'm keeping 35 other ones. Some of which are ones that I'm still reading. So when I'm done with them, I'll just donate them. And some are ones that I read pretty much on the regular. And a lot of these are books that I'm going to be giving away to my nephew when he turns 16 or 17, something like that. So it's a lot of books that I wish I had when I was that age too. It would have saved me a lot of drama and a lot of misery and letdown and failure and disappointment. So, and then I have a stack of like 4 books which are just kind of very personal to me. For various reasons, and I'll get into that when I get to those. So let's go to the ones that I am keeping for now. And ones that I'm reading. I am reading right now by Merlin Sheldrake, Entangled Life. It's about fungus and how cool it is and all the cool shit it does. So I'm about halfway through it, I think, and it's been fascinating. I've learned a lot about mushrooms and how good they are for you and how they kind of make the world work. And we should be very grateful for them, and I am, and I can't wait to finish this. So put that there. This is a book I bought when I was blackout drunk. It's called The Farm as Ecosystem. I don't know what it's about. I'm assuming it's about farming, but it'll be interesting to finally crack this one open. This is one that I bought a few years ago. I read it, but I keep it around just to kind of flip through it. This is a book that you should maybe have, preferably in like PDF file, like on an e-reader, which I need to get to. So if you know a good e-reader, let me know in the comment section so I can buy a good one. Thomas Sowell's Basic Economics. It's pretty much a red pill on economics. This will defeat any liberal left-wing economical talking point, and it's fairly easy to read. It's probably with the index like 675, so not too bad. It's good to have around. Also, other things. We'll get into the trilogy of Robert Greene. I got The Laws of Human Nature. Of course, everybody's 48 Laws of Power, and The Daily Laws by Robert Greene. I don't read this daily. I'll read it for maybe a month, and then I'll kind of put it away for a bit. But this is basically a rundown of these books plus a few other of his books in like daily format. So it's like a one a day like lesson. So definitely keeping these, or we'll always have those. Currently reading halfway through The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. It's a little dated, talks about a lot of things from like the 80s and 90s in the market. That's pretty much as far as this version goes, I think. But it's a good read, interesting if you are an investor. Check it out. I saved this for when I'm traveling, and that is On the Road by Jack Kerouac. Amazing man, amazing book. I only read it when I'm traveling though. So I bought this book about a year ago, and I only read it on kind of down days. So I'm halfway through. So it's fun though. I don't know why I bought this, but I think this was also a drunk buy. This is Isaac Newton's The Systems of the World. I flipped through it. It's all equations. I don't know if there's no words. It's just equations. And then, of course, this is fun. I'm halfway through this. I bought this when I was over in Italy, and it is 10 Caesars. It's Barry Strauss. It's about the first 10 Roman emperors. So lots of fun, a lot of cool stories, definitely cool dudes. And then my last one, I haven't read this front to back, but I've read portions of it, and that is Lawrence Freeman's Strategy, a History. It's a history of strategy, political, military, even in the animal kingdom. There's the opening chapter is about chimpanzee tribes, and what they do is like if they can count, right? So if there's 5 chimps in one, by this bruise, I started bow and arrow shooting, and I didn't wear an arm guard. It's not heroin, it's a bow and arrow fucking. So there's these chimps, right? And they can count. And if there's one tribe of 5 chimps and one tribe of 6 chimps, the 5 will never attack the 6. But in the insect world, ants are constantly at war with each other. Doesn't matter the numbers, they're just constantly battling. In fact, he says if they ever developed nuclear capabilities, the world will be over in a matter of minutes. So pretty fascinating. Okay, so on to the books. Let me take a sip of water. On to the books that I'm going to give to my nephew when he turns 16. So they are books about mindset, finance, and dating and life in general. We'll start with the first 2. The first 2 are just novels. I'm going to give him, of course, I'm going to give him Fear and Loathing by Hunter S. Thompson, fun book. And of course, I'm going to introduce him. I want to be the first to introduce him to Charles Bukowski. So I'm going to give him Women. It's good for what it is. I mean, it's just ramblings of a fucking drunk old man. But it's I've never read anything like it, put it this way. So it's good. So, I'll give him his first smut novel. Now, I have 3 books on dating. I'm going to kind of go through it. I'm going to give him Free Agent Lifestyle by Coach Greg Adams. Fun book, easy to read. These are good. Got both The Way of Men by Jack Donovan and The Way of the Superior Man by David Dieta. Is that how you pronounce it? Dieta? Whatever. Both these really important. I wish I had these when I was, 15, 16 years old. Would have really helped me out. As well as these 2 gems, The Unplugged Alpha by Rich Cooper, and of course, Rational Male by Rollo Tomasi, the Bible for men. Not on my stack. I have them somewhere. I do have Aaron Clary's The Book of Numbers, which I will give to him, and Awaken the Giant by Tony Robbins, which I'll give to him as well. And before you say, Awaken the Giant, that's a pseudoscience. Well, Michael Jordan swears by it, so shut up. Also, books on money. I'm going to give him End the Fed by Ron Paul, The Millionaire Next Door, The Science of Getting Rich. I'm giving him Napoleon Hill's Outwitting the Devil. I'm going to give him Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. And of course, I'll give him Think and Grow Rich. I will actually give him this letterbound edition. So he will have plenty to read and learn. Okay, so those books are taken care of. Now, I'm going to breeze through these 2 and then I'll get to my personal ones. I got my political science and philosophy books that I will always keep with me. I have, first and foremost, I'm going to put these all three together. Thomas Paine, Age of Reason, Common Sense, and The Rights of Man. I like the Dover Thrift versions of these books because they're they're thinner than a pen, so they're easy, just like throw in your luggage suitcase. That takes care of that. So Thomas Paine, Politics by Aristotle, also easy to store. I know it's cringe, but come on, The Prince, and The Art of War, another fun read, super thin. Like you can legit fit these books in your luggage and travel wherever you want, and you always have political science with you. And then these guys, I got this is actually a fun one, especially for a camper or like an outdoorsy guy like I am. Raw Egg Nationalism, the cookbook, a lot of fun, easy recipes. I'm gonna butcher this name because my speaking skills. You want this one? Enchiridion, I think it's pronounced, but you want this. It's just a series of small kind of little blurbs on philosophy and how to live life. It's kind of like Proverbs, but easier to kind of, it's actually a lot like Proverbs, so it's kind of like the Proverbs. Of course, you got As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, and also the Bible of Philosophy, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Definitely books that I will keep forever. And then here are 5 that I will never, ever, ever get rid of, ever, and I will want to be cremated with because nobody else gets them. I got this book when I was maybe 12 or 13. I'm into the paranormal. Like, I believe in ghosts. I know that might be weird to people, but I do. And I remember we went on a family trip to the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and on the way back, we stopped in Williamsburg, Virginia, and Williamsburg is like one of the oldest towns in America. It's like right by the James River, James Island, one of those two. Colonial town, and we went on a ghost tour, and I bought this book called The Ghost of Williamsburg. Super thin. It's starting to yellow on the sides because I've had it for so long. It's just a series of short ghost stories that take place in Williamsburg. So it's a fun book to read, everyone, like, especially on Halloween. Great book to read. This one is called The Planets. It's basically kind of a brief description of each planet and kind of the Greek history, I believe, behind each of the naming and all that, of the god-wise. I'm keeping this book because in 2006, I was working at a Houlihan's waiting tables. And this woman named, I think her name was maybe Lindsay or Lauren, something like that. She was an older woman, probably in her 60s. She let me borrow this book, and I forgot to return it because I moved to Chicago like pretty soon afterwards. So I'm keeping this in case I ever see her in some, like, I don't know, in like a Target or something, and I'll be like, hey, let me get your number. I have your book, I'll mail it to you. So that's in case I ever meet whatever her name was. My friend Molly sent me this book because she knows I like space. It's Chris Hadfield, whatever you want to say it. Around the World in 92 Minutes, a picture book that he took while he was orbiting this beautiful planet. I'm keeping this because this was the first massive biography I ever read. And I read it in I want to say a month. I kind of blew through it. Ron Chernow's biography on George Washington, probably the most badass man to ever walk the face of this earth. Great read, a lot of cool things about Washington that I never knew before. I didn't know that him and Martha, they didn't have their own kids. He became a stepdaddy, but he did it and he was good at it. So if you're gonna do it, at least be George Washington. But yeah, so it's a great book, and just the cover is really, really cool. And I know I shouldn't be vain about books, but I mean, it's just anywhere you put this thing, it looks cool. So even sitting on your hood of your Jeep, whatever, reading it by a campfire would be awesome. So I'm gonna keep that. And then I had this book. I don't think I've read a page of it, except the opening and the cover. It's called Vietnam at War. It's just a massive, I guess it's a documentation of the Vietnam War. I really need to read this for two reasons. I would like to know more about the history of the Vietnam War, kind of like the details. I've been watching some documentaries recently, and I watched this one on how the vets were treated when they came back, and just treated like absolute shit. So it kind of feels like they are like kind of that lost kind of generation. So I would like to kind of read more about it. And this one in particular, because in the opening is I guess my aunt Melba was a flower child in the during the hippie movement, and she was very like anti-war. And my dad was in the Vietnam War, and I guess they had some disagreement where they fought and they didn't speak for a long time. Maybe that's what it was, but she gives this book to my dad, and she inscribes it, basically kind of apologizing for the way that she treated him, I guess, during, I don't know the full story. I'll have to ask one of my aunts about it. But yeah, so I'm going to keep that. It's kind of a sentimental thing. It's got something written to my dad from my aunt. So, and my dad passed away this past December. So it's kind of a nice piece of family history. So I will always keep and cherish this. So that's it. If there's any books that you think I should definitely have in my collection, please let me know. Any comments, questions, and I'll see you then.